Today's the day. Today is the day where we will attempt our new. The glare on this is unreal, but I can't. It's throwing me off, dude. Why is there so much glare on this? I don't understand. Hold it up higher, maybe. I guess I don't know. Well, today's the day that we attempt a uh, a deadlift max. Yeah, man, it's gonna be great. See, I can't do this because I like to rest down here because that's where my freaking water bottle is, and I just get to rest my hand on here. Maybe is that better? It's still a little odd though, isn't it? Like just from like a viewing standpoint, because now you're like looking from the side. What if I extendo way out there? Nope, that's not helping either, is it? Man, this is I guess that helped a little. Uh, anyways, like I was saying, today is deadlift max attempt. Today is the long-awaited day, the culmination of 12 hard weeks of programming completed, and we will be testing a one-rep max on deadlift. So, yeah, here's to hoping it goes well. I guess you don't really know. It could go really well. I could be disappointed yet again for the eighth time in a row, which is it's pretty likely that's going to happen. It's pretty likely that's going to happen. So, I hate to be such a Debbie Downer. For those of you that don't know, like I've struggled with this for years now, ever since my first meet that I competed in. I 500 has been very elusive for me. So anytime I am able to, like, I guess that's why I say those things. Like I guess I'm just used to being kind of let down by myself. Uh, is that I really, based on past experience, there's no indication that today is like this time is going to be any different. Like I remember, so the first time I ran this program was about a year and a half ago. Almost 2 years ago now. And I remember the first time I ran this program, I like my bench blew up when I did this program. I say that, but I would say it blew up, but it was like a noticeable improvement. And so like I could feel myself throughout the program, getting stronger, where like I was making gains where on like rep PRs and even intensity PRs on like singles and stuff on bench. I was doing things that I'd never done before, and I was doing them with relative ease. I remember I think I had to do a set of two or something at like 295 on bench, and I had never done that before. And I remember hitting it with ease and being like, "Hell yeah, dude!" Because it was the first time I had ever done that, and I was like, "Man, that was easy. Like I'm making progress." It was very clear to me that I was making progress. And I guess I don't want to use that as the benchmark, but I've never really had that feeling pop up again, on any other lift, on any lift really. Like that was the last time I can remember really like, noticing gains being made, I guess, if you will, because it was just so obvious to me when I was going in there and hitting rep PR after rep PR. And I ended up, that was the last time I hit a major PR on my bench was, year and a half ago, the first time I ran this program, where in like December 2023, I hit 315 for a shaky single, like the very last lift of the year that I did. So it was like mid to late December. 315 for a shaky single. I got it up, and then by the end of the program that I ran at the start of the year, which was this program. So I came back in, and then 3 or 4 months later, I hit 335 with relative ease, and so that's why I say like my bench blew up. I added, not quite 10 pounds, or sorry, not quite 10%, but more than 5. And it was a big difference for me. And that was the first time I can remember, like, for first, last, and really the only time I can remember, like, you know, man, I like making like that was awesome. Let's do it again. And that was the beginning of the end for me. I haven't really hit a new PR since then. That might have been the time I hit 445 on squat too, but even that was kind of shaky. You know, squat and deadlift never really felt that good for me. After that, deadlift, I've noticed, like, squats always been tough for me. Um, Deadlifts, I noticed that deadlifts move pretty well in training. Like I hit 490 for 2 sets of 1, 2 weeks in a row. Well, one week, and then I did 1 set of 1 the next week, failed the second rep, which has been the story the last 3 times, or however 2 times I've run this program. That's the way it goes. It's like 490 moves the first week, and then I hit the second rep, or the first rep on the second week, and fail the second rep on the second week. And that's just the way it's gone, man. And so that's the way it went this time. And so that's why I am healthily pessimistic about progress on deadlift this time around again. I hate to say it, like, I hate to be a pessimist. I don't even count it really as like being a pessimist, really. Um, it's just realistically for me at this point, based on past experience, like, that's what I'm expecting. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Like, I hope I go in here and blow the fucking socks off of deadlift and walk away with like a 20-pound PR. That would be great. But I don't think it's going to happen. Just, speaking from past experience, I don't, I hate to go into it with such a negative mindset like this, rather than like, hell yeah, today is the day, dude. Today is the day. It's very hard to maintain a positive attitude when you've hit failure after failure on this lift for the last year and a half. And it's frustrating to, and it's hard. Like I said, it's just hard to maintain that positive mindset about it, where it's like, nah, bro, I got it. Like, today's the day. Like the first couple times I attempted a new max on deadlift, it was like I had that mindset where it was like, yeah, dude, I got it. Today's the day. I feel better. Things have been going well. I've been doing good on deadlifts. They've been moving smoothly. I feel good. And then I'm at a point now where it's just like, yeah, I guess we're just going to do this again, huh? Like, just more of the same today, I guess. Can't wait to be let down again. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy to think, like, because if I go back and watch, the way that 490 moved during those weeks where I was doing the singles, if I go back and look at the way 490 moved, I mean, it moves it pretty well. 490 pounds moves pretty well. It's heavy. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's heavy as shit. It's almost 500 pounds. But it's moving. And then so to think that to add like 10 or 20 pounds on top of that makes that much of a difference, to where like I can't even get it off the floor, is weird to me. It always has been. And I don't know if at this point it's just like a mental thing, where I've just convinced myself that 500 is that number that I'll never get past. And that could be part of it, honestly. Like, I could just, my brain could have the rest of my body tricked into thinking that, like, I'll never, oh, this is 501 pounds, dude. No, you're not going to break the floor with this. No way. And so my body just follows that. I don't know. I don't think so. But it's especially because I've hit over 500 pounds for a deadlift before. I've pulled 525 on a deadlift bar. You know what I mean? Like, so that should be enough to let me know, I guess, that the strength is there. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's a different bar, but it's still like the fact that I was able to move it and lock it out should tell me something about the rest of my body, and how, like, the strength is there, but maybe the leverages on a stiff bar are just not in my favor, and like that I need to go back and reanalyze that, like the way I'm trying to initiate the lift, or whatever the case is. Maybe something about that is off. I really don't know. At this point, it's just sort of like me grasping at straws here. But I don't think that, I don't know. I'm hopeful that today's different. I'm hopeful that today's different. I'm hopeful that we're going to go in here and knock the fucking socks off of a PR. So what's written is 525, which I will probably not be attempting today. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work up to a last warm up. I'm going to do 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plates, and then I'm going to do probably 440 or 450, and then from there we'll make the jump to 484, which would just be 4 red plates, and then from 484, I think we're probably going to, or maybe even 490. I don't know yet. I might do 490 because the first, I guess you want to call it that, the first attempt I'm going to take is at like 512, I think, or 517. I can't remember which one I decided on. I may not have decided on one. I might have just said, yeah, one of those. So it's somewhere in there. And then just sort of depending on how that goes will dictate what I do next. If I throw 512 on and it comes up, easily, then maybe I attempt something a little heavier. If I throw 512 on and it doesn't come off the ground, then I'm gonna fucking crash out and probably go home and kill myself. Just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. That was a joke. I will crash out, but I'm not gonna do the other thing. So, yeah, I'll probably just back off and try. The goal is to walk out of here with some sort of a new-ish PR. Even if it's like 5 pounds, I'll kind of be bummed if it's not above 510, because I've been using 510 as my training base for a while now. That's what I based all of my lifts off on this cycle was 510 because I just, I don't know. And I'm able to hit all the lifts. That's the thing, is like I'm able to do all the lifts at that weight, right? I hit, all my lifts in pretty much every other week of training except for this one. So we'll see. Today could go well, it could not go well. So I would love to get above 510 is what I was saying. Sorry. Just simply because that would give me a new base to build on, right? Like, oh, you're at 515 now? Cool. It may not sound like much, but that, 515 increases my lifts on all the next training that I do. You know what I mean? Like, and even if it's only incrementally, I'm at the point now where like I'll take it. Even a 2.5 pound PR is still a PR. I'm at that stage in lifting where I'm really having to fight and scrap for even a 2 pound, 3, 4, 5 pound PR. So I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. But we'll see. It's just going to kind of depend on how everything goes. We'll see how warm-ups are feeling. We'll see how everything's going. I'd like to make that last jump as small as possible, which is why I'm aiming to take my last warm-up at like 484 or 490. Haven't really decided that yet. We'll just see how things are feeling. So the closer I can get to 512, I think the more confidence will be in here for that PR attempt. If I get it to 490 or whatever and end up like crushing that lift, then I'll have a lot more confidence, So I don't know. I remember the last time I tried this, I think it was the last time, one of the previous times I tried this, my last warm-up ended up being the top set. I think it was 496, and that shit, like, oh man, it was a grind. And then I think I threw on 512 and couldn't break the floor. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I'm pulling in right now, so we're gonna find out here real soon how much of this training really paid off this time. But yeah, I'm gonna get pulled in here. We're gonna get warmed up, and we'll tune back in here in a second, and you'll get to watch me do something. I don't know. Something's gonna happen. What that's gonna be, I don't know. But we'll find out in a sec. I was all over the place on my deadlift attempts today. It was just kind of one that I don't know. I wanted a PR, and so I was willing to kind of be a retard because of that. This is my last warm up right here. This is 220 kilos, which is, I don't fucking know off the top of my head, 484, I think. So this is my last warm up, and I should have known. Here, just watch. Slow off the ground, kind of. I mean, smooth on the way up, but slow. And I should have known based on that how this day was going to go. And maybe I did. There I am. Maybe I did, but. And then from 220, I jumped to 232 and a half, which is 512 pounds, was loaded on the bar right here, which, I was kind of feeling optimistic about, but at the same time, at this stage in the game, given my terrible, terrible track record with deadlifts, I was not super confident going in, and it was just, it was a tough day. It was a tough day, as we'll see here in a second, so. And up bar. Oh no, almost got to the knees, which is pretty typical for me. That's usually where I stick and what happens. So, and then I just could not accept defeat. So here we go. All right, and then desperate for a PR on deadlift. I did not unrack the weight. I left it on, and in my head, I was going through the dialogue of, well, maybe I'll be able to. I feel like I can't get good. I can't pull a lot of slack out with hook grip. I think I'll be able to pull more slack out with mixed grip. So I'm going to try to do this again, but with mixed grip. And I think that will solve all of my problems, and everything will go exactly how I think it will. And as you can see, it actually went worse than the previous attempt. And then of course, I could not accept defeat, not once, but twice on 232 and a half, 512. So I thought, hey, maybe I just need to bring the weight down 5 pounds, and that will be the answer that I'm looking for. So now that I'm super fatigued and pissed off and just dejected in general, let's try one more attempt at 230 at 508. So I dropped the weight 5 pounds and gave one last go. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to spoil anything, but it was a letdown. It was a letdown. I did not learn my lesson. I was grasping at straws at this point and just wanted to walk out of the gym with a PR. And it cost me my ego, So luckily I didn't get hurt, but there it is. There it is. Look at that. And we're out. What a disappointment. Sad. Disappointment. Sad. All right, dude. I'm about to like seriously, legitimately fucking crash out, man. This shit is insane, dude. I don't know, like it fucking baffles me, bro. It baffles me that like I'm able in the middle of training, dude. Like in the middle of training, I'm able to lift 490 pounds, not once but twice, and with limited rest, right? A 2 by 1 with like 30 or 45 seconds of rest, a minute tops, you know. I'm able to do that with virtually no issue. And then I slap another 15 pounds on the bar, and suddenly it just won't fucking come off the ground. You know, I don't get it. I don't get it. I am legitimately like, and there's even a point like, so in the past, and I'm sure you can tell in the video as well, but in the past, you know, there's a sticking point. It's heavy, dude. It's 500 pounds. Okay. And I know that in the world of powerlifting and strongman, that's fucking like baby shit, dude. It's crumbs compared to what a lot of these people can put up, right? A lot of like elite power, but it's still, I mean, it's still 500 pounds, okay? And so naturally, there's a sticking point. I'm sure you can see it in the video. Whenever I'm trying to get it off the floor, right? It takes me a second to break the floor, and in the past, I used that as a sign in the past to kind of abandon the lift, right? Where I would struggle to get it off the ground, and I'd just kind of give up completely on the lift because, oh, it's just, it's just too heavy. I'm not going to be able to get it up. It's too heavy. Can't get it off the ground. God, here we go again, right? And you can see that in the video. I know I saw it, and I felt it while I was lifting, where I hit that sticking point where like the first inch of between of getting it off the ground, that first inch is a fucking pain. But then once I get it up off the ground an inch, it came right up to my knees, and then it just hit a fucking stall there. And like I wanted to fight through it so bad because I was like, it's like fuck, dude. Like I'm I don't want to say halfway there, but like I'm a third of the way there. I've got it up to my fucking knees, dude, and like that's what fucking that kills me. I wanted to fight through that so fucking bad, and I did for a second. The first attempt at 232 and a half, I fought through it for a minute. May not look like I did, but rest assured that I told myself like, no, like keep going, keep going. You got it up this far. This is just another fucking sticking point here, where you're gonna. All right, buddy, come on. This is a fucking highway frontage road, dude. You're doing 30 miles an hour. Let's go, bud. This is just another sticking point where you're gonna just give it a second. You're gonna break through, and you'll get the lift up, right? Well, I fought for it for a second, but then it just kind of like I just kind of knew mentally like it wasn't moving anywhere. It wasn't going anywhere, and maybe I didn't fight hard enough. I don't know, but it seemed to me that was going to be the sticking point on the lift, was right there at my knees, and so I just kind of I gave up on it. I bailed. I don't know if that was the right decision. I mean, had this been a competition, maybe I fought a little harder, a little longer, but I'm not really trying to fuck myself up in training here, even if it is, a max attempt today. I'm not really trying to injure myself, gunning for a new max, So I just kind of did what I thought was pertinent, and I bailed. After failing that, it was a letdown, and I kind of gone back and forth with myself leading up to the max attempt, uh, whether or not I was going to do hook grip or mixed grip, because I felt like I could get tighter on the bar with mixed grip. I've kind of felt that way. I felt that way for a while now. Especially after having done like, I do all my rep work in mixed grip really, and so I know that I'm able to get a little. I think I'm able to get a little tighter on the bar with mixed grip, or so I thought. Excuse me. The fuck are you doing, buddy? Like, you're just trying to cause an accident. You come gunning in here, trying to get over 7 lanes in the blink of a fucking eye. Oh, y'all dumbass motherfuckers. Sorry. But anyway, so I felt like I could get tighter on the bar with mixed grip. So I gave mixed grip a shot on 232 and a half, on 512. I gave it a shot. I went back in. I said, you know what, we're going to try it one more time with mixed grips, see if I can get a little tighter on the bar, wedge myself into a better position here. And I honestly, I did worse with mixed grip. I don't even think it came off the ground. Don't even think I got it. Like it didn't feel like it was going to move. So, and of course, that could have been just the fatigue from the first attempt. Obviously rearing its head, and I think that was probably a factor in there. But mixed grip did not feel better. I don't think mixed grip felt better. I was honestly shocked that I did as well as I did with hook grip. I expected it to be the other way around, but it ended up being that hook grip was the superior lift or grip for me on this particular lift. Only to be proven again because I dropped back down. I dropped 2.5 kilos off and came down to 506. After 2 failed attempts at 512, I came down to 506 and decided I was going to give that a shot with hook grip, and I did. And it again came up to my knees. Got same sort of sticking point on the floor there, right where it was like, okay, getting it off the ground is a bit of a pain in the fucking ass. It's a little harder than I anticipated, a little heavier than I thought, getting it off the floor. But we're just gonna push through that. And I did. I pushed through it and got it up to my knees again. Which honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves here, and if we're being, you know, it, like, yeah, if we're being honest with ourselves, I mean, that's improvement. The fact that I got it up off the ground and was able to get it to my knees, both of those lifts, is an improvement. Because before, I'm bailing as soon as I feel the slightest bit of fucking resistance on 500 or on 500, just the slightest bit of resistance trying to get it off the ground. I'm bailing. That first initial like sticking point, I'm like, I've counted myself out. But I fought through that today and realized that I can at least get it up to my knees. But I still, the point remains that I still don't understand how 490 can move for 2 sets of 1 almost flawlessly, right? But then you slap 15 or 20 pounds on the bar, and all of a sudden it's like this gigantic fucking struggle. I don't get it. I know that's 20 pounds is 20 pounds, and that's more than enough weight to make or break a lift, right? But it doesn't seem I don't know, real, I guess. Like, it doesn't seem logical, you know and so I don't know. I'm at a fucking crossroads here in terms of like just my mindset and my mentality. And I just like I want to believe that I can do this thing, and I'm really struggling to, I don't know, I don't want to say find the will, but like, just, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just it's mentally exhausting to do this over and over and over and over again, time after time, and just continue to fail on any progress, any realistic progress on my deadlift. So it doesn't really set the tone for me, like, very well going into next week, having to attempt maxes on bench and squat. Like, I'm very, I don't know. I'm just very like, what's the word? Not distraught, but just very discouraged, I guess. Maybe I should be encouraged by the fact that I made a little bit of progress, in terms of like getting the lift off the ground, but it just doesn't seem like, I don't know. It's just frustrating knowing having dealt with this 1,000,001 fucking times before, knowing that this is here we are again. It just seems like I'm wasting my time, like spinning my wheels, just sort of, for what? I up my calories. I probably put on weight. What did I put on? 5 pounds to move the bar an extra 4 inches? Whoop de fucking do, like, I don't know. It's, it is what it is. It is what it is. Oh man. Anyways. So one last thing I guess I'll say just on the deadlifts is, you know, the warm up felt, or the last warm up that I did, 484, 485, 220 kilos, right? Yeah, 220. Uh, it felt heavy, and that was kind of when, like, I didn't expect it to feel as heavy as it did. And I thought we were in for, well, I guess we technically were in for another repeat of like the last warm up being the top set, you know, because it ended up being the last rep that I completed was 220 kilos. So, but it definitely felt like I was not going to get 512 off the ground like that. I thought for sure like I was going to end up um, literally in the same boat that I've always been in, you know, which is like didn't even break the floor. But we ended up making some progress, I guess. I'm gonna choose to look at the bright side here, and that is that I moved the bar an extra 4 or 5 inches off the ground than what I normally do in these situations. Um, and we're gonna choose to take that win here and call it a day. You know, I'm not gonna dwell on it any longer. We're just gonna look forward to bench on Monday and squat on Tuesday, I guess. Um, stomach bug is kind of behind. I should have touched on this earlier pre-training, but it's kind of behind me. I'm still kicking out the remnants. I think like I'm not 100% back to normal yet, but we're probably like 90 to 95% of the way there in terms of stomach bug. So that's good. And then the cold. I woke up this morning. And my throat was a lot less sore than it was yesterday. I'm still congested, kind of, but it's not as bad as it was. So making improvements. Hopefully this all goes fucking away by, you know, Monday. But who's to say for certain? I don't know. Not me. I don't know. So I'm really hoping. I'm gonna try like hell this weekend to really eat enough. I'm still lacking in the nutrition department. I know I like last night I went to bed with probably 300 calories still, 300 or 400 calories. So, and that's been kind of the story of the last couple of nights. So I just, you know, I feel like I could be doing better there. I know I could be doing better there. My sleep has been okay the last few days. Could always improve that. I feel like, but you know, all things considered, we went into today probably a 7 or 8 out of 10 when we talk about, you know, the preparedness as a whole between diet, recovery, like all that. It was probably a 7 or 8 out of 10. It was probably as good as it could have been, honestly. So yeah, you know, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying, like, you know, that is where it's at. That's where we're at. This happened, you know, this stomach bug and this fucking head cold could not have happened at a worse time for training. So we're just dealing with it one day at a time and trying to make the best of it and, you know, listen to our bodies. But I don't know. Anyways, I'm done talking now. I appreciate you guys listening to me crash out. Well, I didn't even really crash out, but I'm kind of upset. I'm sad, you know. It's a mixed bag of emotions. I'm sad, but I'm also happy that I did make progress. If for no other, like, if nowhere else mentally, you know, knowing that like I may have been sandbagging these reps the last few years. Whenever I feel resistance off the floor and I just drop the weight and I'm like, yep, can't do it. Maybe if I had actually followed through one of those times, like I did today, I would have had a better outcome. But whatever. So we're looking forward to Monday. Monday we're gonna do bench max, Tuesday squat max, and then we're just gonna kind of honestly phone it in from there for about a week, and then I'll probably look to start a new off-season style program, and we'll just kind of see where that takes us. I'm gonna start running again, but we'll touch more on that probably next week at some point. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead and just end this. We're signing off here. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for putting up with me. But I guess we'll see you on Monday. Everyone have a good weekend, a safe weekend. You know, be safe, be good, and you know, go to the gym.